Hello there everybody, this is Zodikos, and look whose face is just basically healed. Alright, just took me a week, took me a while. I'm wearing a flower crown because it's hot as fuck. That didn't make any sense, but welcome to another installment of Monday Madness. I realize this one's going up very late, and by late I mean like past 8 o'clock, but whatever! So, as promised, I told everyone that I was going to talk about cosplay stuff. So this is gonna be more like a beginner's guide to cosplay. So if you're just starting to get into cosplay, I myself have been doing it for close to 7 years now, and I'm still a bit of a baby at it. I mean, I've done some pretty good stuff, but I'm still getting into the kicks of it and everything. So I figured I would do some fabric tutorials. Well, this isn't necessarily a tutorial, but to show you what types of fabrics there are. Now, I only have a handful of fabrics right next to me. I didn't grab my whole bin. So, the first fabric I want to talk about is cotton. Now, this is a lovely print of some shimmery shamrock. Now, notice, no, if any, stretch. It has a little bit of stretch. With this fabric, we're going to talk about your lovely anatomy of a fabric. This thing, this little white band right here, this is a finished hem, also known as the selvage. So you'll actually be able to see, if I take away the white bit, you might not be able to see on my camera, but there's like this little itty bitty finish. That's the selvage. Obviously, you can tell. Usually by the white ends. That is the straightest part of the fabric. So if you have a straight line in your costume, in your pattern, usually on your center back or occasionally your center front, your selvage is your best friend. Thing about cotton, there is a lengthwise and a crosswise stitch. Sometimes if you look closely at a cotton, you can actually tell which one is the lengthwise and which one is the crosswise. The crosswise has a little bit more stretch than the lengthwise. And then what's known as the bias is a direct 45-degree angle from the fabric. So if you took this and folded it in half, or rather not really in half, but at a diagonal from the selvage point, you have yourself your bias. This is the stretchiest part of your cotton. This is also used for bias tape to get those really nice finishes on some skirts and dresses and whatnot. So, cotton, thrown aside, I'll fold that back later. Next fabric! This is brocade. Now, brocade is probably one of my favorite types of fabric to work with, but also my least favorite fabrics to work with. My favorite because it's absolutely stunning. I mean, you can barely see the pattern on this one, but this one I got up in New York City in the fashion district. It's absolutely stunning. You usually see a lot of people use it for kimonos or hanfus or gaus. Gaus, I might be wrong. Someone correct me on that one. Same thing. It also has a selvage, a finished edge. This one's got a little bit of a blank spot for the selvage. Now the thing with brocade is, as you'll notice as I was holding it up, it frays so easily, and you get all these little extra strings that are just kind of nasty and evil to work with. And this one has barely any stretch. This one, again, usually, and it's also very heavy. I forgot, cotton's can vary from light to heavy, but brocade is very heavy and very hot. So I usually don't like using this for cosplays, only because the conventions I go to are usually during the summer, so I get very hot very easily, and I don't like doing that. So, brocade. Next fabric! This is what's known as tweed. It is a bottom weight fabric, which usually means you find these a lot in pants, in suits. This one actually was my mother's back from when she was my age. This is basically a very much like of a wool, almost, but it is a tweed. It looks like wool, feels like wool, but it is a tweed. It is not full wool. Same thing, it has a finished edge, a selvage. Same thing with this one as well. It has very little stretch except on the bias. This is really good for any sort of thick pant, thick skirt. So if you decided you wanted to be Peggy Carter, bottom weight would probably be the best thing to use for one of her pencil skirts, specifically her blue skirt dress combo with the red hat, her most memorable outfits. So, nothing really else to go along this one. Bottom weight is really great for pants and jackets. I used a dark purple bottom weight for my Kate Bishop jacket that I had for the recent Anime Boston and the previous Boston Comic-Con. Heavy, again, gets a little warm, especially when you're wearing it. I totally forgot to grab one. Oops. Goodbye. Next, this lovely, bright green, fluffy, this is known as tulle. This you see a lot in tutus. So if you're doing a princess tutu, or anything with a large skirt like Lady CL, this is your go-to fabric. This is what layers underneath your skirts to make them all poof. There's no right or wrong with this. You could just tear at it and put something together and have a really cool looking thing. I've seen this before with a Naruto cosplay. They had a red one and they had it around their hand like this, and it looked like the chi and the fire chakra of everything, and it's really cool to do it that way, because then you have like this cool sheen, and if you paint it in a way, it can actually look like fire, and I thought that was kind of a clever way to use tulle. But if you're making any sort of ball gown, this is what it is, all tightly balled up together. If you're making any sort of ball gown or tutu, tulle's your way to go. That floated away, it was so elegant. I know people use that for wings as well. So, next fabric! This is not necessarily chiffon, but I'm going to use it as an example of chiffon. Chiffon is usually that very light see-through fabric. As you can see, I am holding it up. It is in front of my face. It is very light, very cute. This is covered in little gold roses. Very see-through. This is sort of like pullover dress. This might go over it to give it something of a bit of a flair. This happens a lot in, I know, Monster High characters and Ever After High characters, such as Jennifer Long, I think her name is. This is also really good for if you wanted a very flowy underskirt, if you're doing something like that, or even like sort of any sort of ribbon. This is also really good for making very lightweight shirts, if your character has a lightweight shirt of any sort, if they're like a fairy or what have you. Very handy. Same thing. Has the selvage. Oh, there it is. There's the selvage. And same thing with this one. No stretch, little bit of stretch, much stretch. And this one actually doesn't even have that much stretch on the bias either. So, goodbye chiffon. Next fabric. This is my favorite type of fabric ever! This is what's known as a jersey knit. Now, what are knits? The stretchiest fabrics you can probably get your hands on. This is what a lot of shirts can be made from, that really stretchy fabric. I know there's a lot of jersey knit dresses out there. This is a very much a wintry pattern, and also a little bit see-through. This fabric is really great if you're doing a superhero costume. If you want that, if you're trying to do like sort of a classic type superhero costume without the now armored ones, jersey knit is definitely a way to go. It's stretchy, it's very comfortable. You can layer it to make it a little bit thicker, and it does have a selvage. Yes, it does. This one, if I can find it, the thing is with jersey knits is while it may have a selvage, which I am not finding, but jersey knit is very stretchy and very awesome, and it's very soft. If you can find a nice jersey knit, they are very soft. That's all I've got for today. Thursday we're going to go into contacts and makeup, probably, and so yeah, stay awesome, stay you, thanks for watching, bye!